Dear Lord, thank you so much for today, Lord, as you bring us here together, Lord. We just, thank you for everybody here, the time that, they put in for our community, for our school district, for the parents of these kids that genuinely care about our kids, Lord. We just, I just thank you for all of them, Lord. Thank you for this family, Lord, that you sent to us, Lord. I just pray, Lord, that you'll be in everything that they do. And just let us as parents and, faculty members and everything that's involved to make their job easy, Lord. And let's just make this thing work. Let's roll and let's be good, Lord. We just love you and praise you. Thank you so much for all you do. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much. I'll officially call this meeting to order, 6 p.m. and we have our quorum established. Derek will join us here in about 15 minutes. Let's go ahead and do our pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all so much. We do not have citizen participation tonight, but I've signed everybody in so you can all speak when we get to that part on your agenda. We have the consent agenda is number 4. That's the next item, but we're gonna move on Clemson's behalf. We're gonna move Coach Whitaker up to the 4 item, and so we have Coach Whitaker here tonight. He is the lone finalist for our boys head baseball coach and our head football coach and athletic director. Excuse me.
We have baseball
Overall. And we have our hiring committee here as well. We have several individuals that took a lot of time out of their busy schedules to get together, form a hiring committee, and do the interviewing process. And they are here to present Coach Whitaker as their candidate. So, gentlemen, I'll give you the floor.
He's going to talk.
Me and some of these guys, I think we did a good process and interviewed, I think, more guys than we planned on, but we wanted to make sure we tried to get this thing right. And, I've been praying about it, and I think we got a good family, and we'll just present them to y'all and let y'all make the decision, and, hope that we can, that'll all be affirmed, and we'll go from there. Thank y'all for letting us come tonight.
Wonderful. Does anybody else on the hiring committee want to say anything? We appreciate all the time that you guys took. We know it's a really serious role. So Coach Whitaker has brought his wife Megan and his daughter Clemson here tonight. And so if we are ready to move forward with that, I am looking for a motion for approval.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract for Glenn Whitaker.
Thank you, Tara. Looking for a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Rachel. All those in favor? Okay, that is everyone. Congratulations. We're very excited for you.
Coach Whitaker, would you like to say something?
Yes, absolutely. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to my wife, Megan, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. It was one of those deals that, over this process of my coaching journey, we've truly been, waiting for the right time. Where's the right place to, settle our roots? And this was the first time over the last 4 years of going through this process that she truly felt that God spoke to her and said, let's do it. And she came home one day and said, I'm ready to do this, and I want you to apply to DeLeon. And, so I was fired up, and within about 3 minutes, I had my laptop out and was firing away and ready to go. And super blessed and excited to be here. And, somewhere that we can, as a young family that's from small towns, that grew up in a community similar to DeLeon between Glen Rose and Iowa Park for myself. That's our ultimate goal has always been to get our family, our daughter Clemson, and whatever's next for us. Somewhere where we can grow our roots and plant our roots and let them grow around great people that are at the end of the day they're centered through Christ, and that's what we wanted to get to. And we were so excited to get here. And at the end of the day, I just want to build all the values and morals that y'all already teach your kids. I want to continue to push that even harder in the athletic building through their schoolwork on and off the field, and make sure that not only are we trying to win games on the court, on the field, and on the track, but we're also trying to make great young men and women, and that's the ultimate goal. And in the process process of doing that, I think it'll help us win a lot of games in the process. And so that's what I'm super fired up about, and can't thank y'all enough, and Dr. Marable and the hiring committee, all the time y'all took and for giving me this opportunity. And like I told you all at the end of the interview, I promise you won't be let down. We're gonna put a lot of time and effort into this, not only just me, but my family and us as a whole community, from the ground up, like I said, from pre-K, babies, all the way through, 12th grade, alumni, everyone in this community. It don't matter if you're the starting quarterback right now, or you're, a little cupcat, or you're just being born, or you're someone that was a part of the 1975 state championship team. We're all in this together, and I want to make sure that it gets to that way. And we're all one working unit to make this become, one of the most successful small towns in the area, athletically, academically, and as human beings, and the ultimate goal of winning the Lone Star Cup one day. So I just thank y'all for everything y'all done for me and for my family, and for blessing us with this opportunity. And we're so excited to be here, and we're super fired up to get this thing rolling. So I really appreciate
We're
it.
happy you're here.
We're glad you're here.
Excited.
Your resume was fantastic.
It
The vision that you had, I don't know if people do that, if that's something you guys saw in all of the applications, but his was extremely impressive. what
It
he
was.
Very
I
detailed.
sat there and read the whole thing.
Yeah, I did too. It was very impressive. So,
Thank you so
good luck.
much.
That's wonderful.
Thank you.
All right, well, I will dismiss y'all and all the hiring committee as well. I'm sure you have other things that you want to do, but thank y'all so much for coming tonight.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Committee, thank you again, y'all did a great
Good job, guys.
Thank y'all.
Coach Whitaker, I'll see you in the morning.
All right, I'm gonna leave the rest of, I'm gonna leave the rest of the items that are up for personnel.
Y'all can spread out a little bit now, there's plenty of room back there.
All right, let's move to the consent agenda, the approval of minutes of the previous meeting. I dug through those minutes and I decided that y'all were wrong on the amount of text that we had collected since the previous meeting, and I had to go back and look at it, and it was correct. I was not expecting it to be that large, that late, in March. I expected it for January and February, but not for March. Yeah.
Takes a while to pay all that, doesn't it?
Does anybody have any changes or anything that you noticed that was not correct on this minutes? If not, we'll move to the comparison of our revenue to budget.
We're just right on track, staying within our timeline where we plan to be, so we're good.
And our tax collection report is a little smaller this time, it's $74,449.23.
It will get smaller and smaller as time goes by.
Yep. It's just almost fully collected there, looks like. Right. Okay, so, if there are no questions or changes for consent agenda items, we're looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Great, thank you, Dean. All those in favor? I don't know what's going on out there.
Good times.
Yeah, they're having a good time.
Okay, so let's move to our discussion items. 5.1, the campus reports and program reviews. Do we have principals that have reports, or are y'all saving it up for me? Okay.
We're swapping their roles.
And, I sent out the email the other day, with the save the dates, and then as, if anything changes, dates, times, places, whatever, we'll let you know. The band, performance, happened the other night on, was it the 17th? That was, I can't remember the actual date. It was wonderful. It was great. I saw several board members there. It was a very enjoyable night. All three bands did a wonderful job. Of course, we enjoyed sixth grade.
You bet, first chair.
I just think it's so remarkable when you listen to the sixth grade and they're good. And then by the time you get to the high school band,
It is
it's
a very
like,
nice
oh
progression.
my.
Yeah.
I got there early enough, Zayden was playing his,
Oh,
what,
practicing.
He was working on his opera, it was the Italian opera song he was
Yeah.
doing the keyboard for.
it was just him sitting up there by himself. I thought that was pretty neat, so.
That's wonderful. And then I also
Yeah, it was supposed to be tonight, and I was like, oh, we're not gonna see it.
It's
And
the
then
28th.
it was the
20.
Yeah.
Next week.
I mean, they got to beat the middle school out now. The middle school did.
That's right.
That was very
Great
good.
performance.
They had one that was pretty good.
They did, it was
Well.
very nice. And, you know, that is, the same person doing all that work, and she just does such an incredible job, Ms. Weingart, and so if you see her, please let her know, that she's doing such a great job. Okay, so if we're not doing those, reports, then let's move on to 5.2 for the discussion on staff stipends for the new school year, the school year coming up. Dr. Randall, will you remind me, what was the amount that we did? $750 per person, paid in November, so that you receive it right before Christmas, and it is for returners. And so I just wanted to have this on here so that we could discuss it. We have a couple of items that are up in the air, and that's why it is not an action item as of yet. I'll let Maribel talk about that a little bit.
Well, I just think until the legislature finishes with us, we really don't know what the salaries are gonna look like for next year. I'm hopeful that there will be a significant raise for our teachers. I truly do. The way it's looking now, it will be for more seasoned teachers, but.
Where's that number start for like seasoned teachers? What is that?
Well, they're talking about like $10,000.
No, I'm saying like 5 years,
10 years.
10 years?
They're talking 10.
Okay.
But you don't ever know.
Well,
until
no,
June 3rd. Because the second, they'll maybe not call a special session after that. But anyway, it's looking good for that. We did get notice, I think on Thursday it was, that they have posted our ratings for 2023. And we are, all three of our campuses were rated A's, and of course our district was an A campus, so we'll wait to see what they say about, we're A campuses for 24 too, but they just are slow getting them out. But it's good, everything's running well, but I think that the stipend was very, very appreciated by everyone. And I would like to see us continue in some form or fashion the stipend, that comes out in November for, right before Christmas for the people returning.
Dana, how many staff are we looking at?
We have 100 and,
I've heard this number before, but I don't.
about 160, but
160.
all of them won't be returning.
Correct.
Yeah. We're right at 160. So, it's a nice thing. Of course, I like it being on the salary schedule too, because when people are looking to look at us, they see our salary schedule online and they don't see that stipend, they don't see that. But, right now, we're still paying a little above what everyone else is paying, and I would like very much to keep it that way. And I think that all of us agree that we have a good product and we need to pay as much as we can for it.
Right, and as teachers are deciding in May, if they're coming or going or what have you, that's why I wanted to go ahead and have that discussion, even though we're not approving anything official, we're saying that is our intention. Once everything kind of falls, we'll know exactly when and what we want to do.
One of the things that we have historically done is that when we increased the salary schedule, we did it all the way up, all the way across the board. That is not the case in like Metroplex schools. They start really, really high, but the raises are not, they're not commensurate with what they're paying at this first. In fact, one of the teachers we hired from Fort Worth last year, I think and she had 6 or 7 years, 6 or 7, she didn't take much cut in pay, hardly at all, because while she had started with a lot more, by the time she was where she was more like us than unlike us. So, I think we need to be very proud of that, and whatever the state does, we need to probably look at our beginning salaries, because 44 is kind of low. But it's better than other schools, and it's better than the state minimum, a lot better. So, anyway, just keep it in mind, we'll come back to you as soon as we know something.
Okay, anyone have any other questions or comments on the staff stipends? Let's move to the, Devion ISD Board of Trustees continuing education credits, and I was the winner, so we're gonna bring up. I'm not actually sure why mine is.
You're supposed to read it. By law, you're supposed to read it out
I'm not
loud.
exactly sure why that one is higher, we might need to research it, but, okay, so Dana Marable has 9 hours, Carrie Morris has 12, Rachel Walker has 9, Cecilia Boswell has 9, Keith Madison has 6, Terrell Casey has 9, Darren Howell has 9, and Cody Hodges has 6.
Equal
Now-
time.
Yes.
Gotta get to work.
You're about to have an opportunity to increase those hours coming up very quickly on May 8th, so we'll all be in attendance, I'm sure, on that evening in Abilene.
Yeah, we have registered 8 people for May the 8th in Abilene.
Wonderful.
What time are we leaving?
I'm not sure.
As soon as I get here.
As soon as you get here.
Do you have something else?
No, just,
Are you saying you don't want to ride with the group?
well, I'm just saying, I hope I get here in time to not have to drive myself to Abilene.
Okay, so that kind of wrapped up 5.4 as well. So let's move on to our action items, consideration and approval of our donations and gifts to the district. We have 2.
Yes, the Mighty Marine Band Boosters donated $6,514.65 for new band equipment. That's when we go to the concession stands and buy cakes and whatever, that goes into the fund, and then it comes back to us. So we're very blessed to have that. And Nancy Brown and Patrice Morgan donated $100 that they earned for judging at One Act Play, and they donated it back to the One Act Play Fund.
Cool.
And I'd ask you to accept those.
Make a motion to accept the donations for April.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor? Okay, that's all. Okay, 6.2, I've got it right here, you guys. The consideration, and approval of the certification of provisions of instructional materials survey 2526, and that's what's in front of you here with the, from TEA and the blue lettering.
Nothing changed from last year other than, for next year, we're gonna use the Blue Bonnet Learning for math. Is this on it? Other than that, nothing has changed.
What is the blue bonnet learning?
That is the, through the state.
Okay.
High school and middle school is Carnegie. Basically, Carnegie is the Blue Bonnet Learning, and we've used high school, Carnegie now for several years since it was adopted, and very successful with it. The elementary, what did they say that was? Kind of, what?
What was that?
The name,
What?
I can't think of it, the Blue Bonnet Learning, but who actually,
Was it Eureka?
Eureka.
Eureka.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. If there are no questions, looking for a motion on the approval of that.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented. It's your turn.
I didn't know we come around to me
Would you like to? Thank you, Dr. Boswell. All those in favor?
Didn't work.
All right. 6.3 is a consideration and approval of our audit engagement letter.
This is just approving that we, tell Id Bailey to start auditing us for next year. They start right away. It's not just that 1 week, so.
Yeah, and they do a great job. I'm always really happy with Kevin and the group that he brings in, and the way that they do their job, and the way that they explain everything. I feel like it always goes really well. I end up getting phone calls from, I don't know if it's Kevin that I talk to directly, but I have to do a phone call with them at some point in time, and they're always really professional. I think it's a really good group. motion for approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the audit engagement letter.
I'll second.
Rachel, thank you, Heath. All those in favor? Okay, we have 5 and 1 abstain. Okay. Okay, let's go to, here's your moment, 6.4, consideration and approval of our summer projects list, which everybody has had. Yes, drum roll. Needs a chance to dig through, I believe.
I actually, I printed out some more, I know there's a lot of them. One of my proposal prices came in late this afternoon, so I just reprinted it.
Thank you.
I'll shout it, right? Hey there.
Did you
How
turn
about
the
that?
monitor on?
Good.
Did you turn the camera on?
All right.
Mr. Miller was very quick on that.
After she asked Joe to pray, and he was praying for what is even started.
Okay, the first thing that's up is the elementary gym bathrooms. We're just bringing that back up because y'all tabled it last time when we, talked about stuff like that. I think that it would be beneficial for them to do that. I have 2 proposals. I had them go out and update them again. They both came in pretty close to what they had originally proposed.
Okay, remind me again, so, this is gonna be accessed from inside the gym,
Inside the gym,
a
2 bathrooms.
men and women's,
And then we'll have a drinking fountain out there. We'll put one of those here.
okay,
This is everything, it says less fixtures would be toilets, sinks, water fountain, everything else would be included in it. All the lighting and all that stuff would be in it.
But you got you got a really good proposal that shows exactly what it's gonna do.
The scope of work, yes,
But we're not seeing.
yes, I still have all of that documentation.
Now, David, this is concrete, sewer, plumbing.
Yes, turnkey,
I think the sewer had to go out to the
Con Street.
Con Street.
We found it whenever we were doing some work on the back of the baby room, daycare room.
Yeah.
Where early head start is, the tap that was there, the clean out was broken, and so I had a company come in, and I said, hey, by the way, let me know where this line goes. Everybody thought that it went straight across the Walmart, no, it turns and goes underneath the gym, goes all the way up to Con Street, so it goes underneath the older building too. So, it's gonna line up just perfect right there, where it's gonna be. So, we have a mark it, so there's a mark still on the building, I spray painted the mark on the building. Sullivan Contracting, they're quite a bit higher, their proposal was more wordy, but Morton Meadows has done work for me in the past. I don't have any problems with what he's done in the past for us. He knows what he's gotta do. The gym is gonna wind up being open a little bit of time while they're doing what they've got to on the outside, cause they have to tear off part of it to get access to the inside of it. And that gym's been spray foamed, so taking those sheets off with the spray foam on it's not gonna be real fun. But once you get all that done, then he can do his steel structure and then going up with it. And we've got quotes in there for spray foam and all of that in it. So it'll be weather tight, it's not gonna have AC and heat, but it should get that off of the gymnasium itself. So, I feel real good about that price. I know it's way off from the other one, and we asked last time for him to put some more words in there, but he's not a man of very many words. So he didn't put any more words in there, but we verbally know exactly what we're asking for, and
Well, and
we're on
I
the
think,
same page.
I think a whole lot, my deal last time was, and I can't remember when the bids came in, they were
Way far apart.
35 and 70. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
and
You know,
just nothing to say, hey, I'm doing this, whereas the other one had a 4-page list of,
yeah.
you get
It's,
this.
like I said, that guy is in the construction business, he does those
He does,
proposals
yeah.
for a living, so probably he has something where he pushes a button and it feeds it into.
Template.
I don't know for sure, but, I feel comfortable with both of them, but us being good stewards of their money, I'd rather go with the cheaper proposal on that one. We've got several that we gotta go through here. I don't know if y'all been to a Pee Wee game here lately, the end of the basketball season, but the bathrooms were shut down in the old gym. We found out the sewer line has started collapsing in there. So, this is not a need, this is not a want, it's a need. I've got 3 proposals. The ones that I've got highlighted on here are the ones that I would like to go with. The one in the middle there just seemed more knowledgeable, and their price included the concrete work, so all we would have to do is come in and paint the floor. So, the way that they planned on all 3 companies was, when you go into the bathrooms, you've got the stall doors. They would come from the toilet, out the stall door, and then go straight out the building. So it would be one line all the way back through, and we're gonna do a new sewer tap. So we're not tying into any of that other old existing stuff. It's gonna go right straight out to the road, and it'll all be self-sustainable by itself. The stuff that's there is, where that building was built, it's cast iron, it's flaking. We did a video camera down through it. You could see lines and cracks, sand and rocks in the bottom of it. That's why it's not flushing very well, because it will work during the period when the kids are in there and 1 or 2 or 3 going in there and go to the bathroom, it'll flush. It has time to recover and work down, but when you get a mass of people in there, it can't handle that. And I know it's been a problem that every time Little League has tried to use it, last year we had trouble, this year we had trouble again. So, we found the gravel and rocks in it this time, so. It's one of those that we're just gonna have to go and do. This one that says elementary parking lot on Pecan Street, that's been a need for a long time. I don't know if y'all have been over there where the teachers have to park in the old entrance area, the drive and all that. I talked to a guy today. I got 1 proposal, so I just wanted to throw that number out there to y'all. It's $46,000, and it's from the alleyway to the street corner. There'll be some grass that's still contained, but the little drive lane where the fire plug and all that is, it would all be asphalt through there. So, it's a need. We keep having to go over there and drag that driveway because it gets potholes in it from people driving through it, and it knocks it out. The teachers were having issues with somebody stealing somebody's parking spots, and so Lori asked us to come put straps on them. Well, after we got it all cleaned up, we were strapping dirt. So, it's a need. It looks real bad over there, and hey, we talked today, and I had Vicki Dawn with me. Down there towards that early Head Start in pre-K wing, the ground kind of goes up and then down to the sidewalk and that apron area. And we talked about shaving that down so that we don't have a bump in there. He wants to try to maintain the water flow away from the building.
You
so.
can drag your license plate off if you park too close, I know that.
So, that's something that needs to be done, but we'll discuss that in a little bit. District HVAC Wi-Fi thermostats. Y'all probably haven't heard a whole lot about this, but in the back end, I've been getting my ear chewed from Allie because our gas bills are high. And it comes out that thermostats are not being turned off, heaters are running, nobody's in the building. So I went on a search to try to find a solution. And I found a company called NT Network Thermostats. They're on Buy Board. They're with the Buy Board that Texas has for all education stuff. I visited with him about doing the district, and that was a really giant number, so I backed up. And I said, well, let's just practice and let's try to do the gym, and then the freezers and refrigerators at both campuses. This would allow us to control those thermostats through a web browser. We will still give the teachers flexibility to run their thermostat 2 to 3 degrees up or down, okay? Now, if there's some major issue, we can go in there on the screen and lower the temperature or raise the temperature if need be. This will cut down on people not being in a room and the air conditioner running, because we can program those days in there through that web browser. Spring break rolls around, ACs are not gonna come on. Now, if that teacher came up and wanted to work in her classroom, I don't know if y'all are familiar with some of the technology that was in the old, or the new high school that's still kind of dated now. They can hit an override button, and we can program how long that override is. 30 minutes, 2 hours, however long. That unit will run for that time period. When that time period runs out, it reverts back. Nobody has to remember to turn the thermostat up. It's, in the long term, I think it will save us money. It's not gonna pay for itself starting out, but managing the electricity bill will be a lot easier on the HVAC and the heat, because we will have control of when those units come on and go off. So, I first was looking at it as the gymnasium, the freezers, and the refrigerators at the cafeteria. That little project was gonna cost $9,400, okay? The reason I picked those, the gymnasium was the one that had the $7,000 gas bill at Christmas time. We were on break 2 weeks of that, and it was the highest user in the district. Mainly because nobody turned it off. Not gonna point fingers or anything like that, because a lot of people go in and out of there. This would kind of fix that problem in a roundabout way. Once I started looking at my budget and saw how much was in the building construction fund and that special fund, I wanted to throw in a number of just doing the whole district. We'll get a discount if we do the whole district. We'll get a better break on all this equipment by doing it that way. The freezers and the refrigerators have been an issue at both campuses. When that unit breaks, it doesn't tell anybody it's broken until somebody comes in, looks at the thermostat and says, oh, it's 25 degrees in the freezer. We better call somebody. Well, then we're scrambling at the last minute. The way the system is set up, this would not run the freezer or anything like that. It's just gonna send an alert, an alarm. And it'll send it up SMS, and it'll also send an email out. We can program it to let us know if it gets 5 degrees higher than what it should be. When we're loading stock and stuff, that may not be a good variable, but we can adjust those limits to where it sends us out an alert. I can catch it a lot faster. We spent, I don't remember how much we spent this last time. We had a leak at the one at the high school. It got up to like 28 or 29 degrees, I don't remember. It was just in the last couple of weeks. And the guys came and charged up the system because they didn't have time to check the leak. So they charged it up, they left. They came back the next day, we're gonna check for leaks, couldn't find a leak. The next day, it was a little freon again. So finally they were like, okay, we have to do it. So they took time out of their day, scheduled it in. It's kind of hard to get those guys in and out of here, especially the ones that work on the freezers. HVAC doesn't seem to be as big an issue as the people that work on the freezer side of it. I guess it's a different technology. So this would allow us to have that capability of alerting us. Me and Samantha have been talking about this for several years because of that.
We lost
We
a-
walk in and we lose food.
Yeah.
I mean, it could cost the district a lot of money if somebody is not. And this would also give us some reporting on it too. We can see on a graph, hey, this thing is trending warmer now. We better call a technician and have them look at it. So that's a good idea for that part of it too. Moving on, this one's not really, I just wanted y'all to know what I was wanting to do. The stadium scoreboard started its life as maroon, now it's pink. So, talking to several vendors, I was like, oh, we'll just have it wrapped. That'd be the easy solution. I'll just have somebody come out, we'll put a wrap on it, be done with it. The wrap won't stick because it's pink, because it's oxidized. So, I've done some painting here in the district here lately, so I talked to Dr. Merble and I said, if we can get it down and get it in the shop down there, I can paint it. And then we can order the sticker kit that's right around $900, put the stickers back on it, put it back up. I don't wanna paint with just any kind of paint. I want to paint with carpet, which is base coat, clear coat. The other problem to that is, nobody knows what maroon is. So I'm gonna have to take a helmet or something that we decide maroon is to the paint store and say, okay, I want it this color, and then they can take a picture of it, and then they mix the paint up. I've been around and around with Sherwin-Williams, all of them, they don't know what 209C is. And that's what the sign company told me the paint code was. Cars and sign companies, I guess, don't G all together. I did paint it with acrylic paint from Sherwin-Williams, they said it wouldn't fade for a year. So, I'm thinking, that's gonna be one of my guys' projects this summer, we're just gonna do it kinda in-house, we have some funds for that on our side for the,
What if you can't get it down?
oh, we can get it down.
Okay.
Yeah, I already found out it only weighs 800 pounds.
Oh.
Yeah, piece of cake. It's only 20 foot long, what, 15 foot tall?
The hacksaw stuff, take it.
It's bolted down,
Oh,
actually.
there you go.
It's got like 8 bolts holding it up. I already looked. The next thing, we mentioned this at the beginning of the year, we kind of tabled it. Y'all took no action on it. Sprinkler system at the elementary playground and the band practice / middle school field. I was calling it just the band practice field, because the band was really the only ones using it. Well, here lately, middle school's using it more than the band, and so it's hard to water it during the day when it's being used all the time. So these are prices that I got from those people at the beginning of the year, okay? Prices are probably gonna change a little bit. We're just looking at roundabout numbers right now. If I did everything that was highlighted on there, the highlighted total would be $257,086, okay? In the, Alex said we would have to split some of this stuff, but between the two accounts, we've got about 440,000 in there, okay? She said some of this stuff we would have to pull out of the 81 budget, which is the capital assets. You know, the bathrooms, the sewer, the scoreboard, that can come out of the regular fund. The sprinkler system probably can come out of the regular fund too. But,
I think the scoreboard, you don't even need it.
no, I was just trying to give you information on what we were
You'll
doing.
do what you wanna do with that, and if you might even ask the booster club to pay your $900 for your stickers, that would be a good use of their
Yeah.
fundraising, but I don't even think you need us on that part.
Like I said, there's more than enough money left in there, and that leaves extra money in there. If something else holds, has a problem. Mr. Thompson's supposed to be coming at the end of the week, is that right?
So $250,000 is the money that was earmarked, in an attempt to try to hold on to it years ago, gosh, at this point. Did you say it was there when you got here? Or did
No,
we
no,
do it
no,
right after
that's
you?
not it. This is budgeted this year.
The $250,000 or the below
This
it?
is in this year's budget.
So did we spend our
This is-
$250,000 that we earmarked or no?
It's still in fund
So it's
balance.
still
It
there?
just got put back over.
It's still in fund balance. We just,
Yeah.
it's there for capital, but it's there.
Okay.
We have not used it.
Okay.
This you
This was an
budgeted,
approved budget that y'all did,
yeah, last year.
so
And we've
we've,
just not done any big projects.
we've been just holding their money and trying to make sure everything's
What's,
gonna make it through.
where's the 194 coming out of, what's that?
The 194 is the
That's same
capital
budget, but different.
assets.
Okay.
It's the capital. We've already built a few things to that. It was
Yeah.
200,000.
Okay.
So we built a couple of things to it. My guy's responsibility, if we did the whole job, of course, we'd have to oversee all these projects that are being contracted out, but the thermostats would be put in via our guys. The company told me that they would program them all, they would assign a classroom number to them, and we would basically, they would have the Wi-Fi password and everything put into them. We would just go in there and bolt them in, and then they would join the web browser.
Let me ask about these thermostats.
It's not like
If
a
I'm a
mess.
teacher,
It's not.
that was the one thing that freaked me out when
3
you said, okay, so if I'm a teacher and I'm in there, I'm like, I'm freezing to death. You're like, oh no, only two clicks up.
We're 2 clicks down, they still have the option of heat, cool, you see what I'm
But
saying?
that's the range, is they can go maybe 2 or
Well,
3 up or 2
they
down.
can, but how long do you wanna let them have that? You wanna let them have it for 6 hours? Or do you wanna let them have it for 2 hours at a time, or 3 hours at a time? Most of them are gonna want it cold. Most of them don't complain about heat just winter time.
We've got them at a lot of our locations, and it's a major difference in their electricity bill compared to the ones that have their own control. But the 2 to 3 degrees is pretty sufficient. When it's feeling stuffy or if it's a little too hot, you can.
I know from my personal preference, right
So
there in the
Derek
car,
feels like it's comfortable, but would Carrie think it's comfortable because
Is Carrie
many
cold right
women
now?
have 2 different body
Yeah.
it's
temperatures.
71 in here right now.
I'm freezing.
Studies show.
I'm always
My
cold.
big guys are hot, okay, they just left.
Yeah.
No,
Well, yes, during the interviews, I had a blanket. I just got a blanket.
like I said, there's all kinds of ways that we can do that. You know, we have to come to an agreement that, you know, whether 72, 73, 74 is gonna be our baseline, and then you would go up from there. I do know I paid attention to it in my wife's car the other day when we were going down the road, and I was cold. And so I turned the thermostat to 72. Well, it felt hot then, you know what I'm saying? But it was summertime. In the wintertime, 72 feels pretty warm in a classroom. 72 may not feel cool enough in the summertime. So this is all in just trying to make everything run a little bit more efficient too.
And part of it is where you're sitting in that classroom, if you're next to the window with the sun shining
It's gonna be a warmer, it'll
Or
have
the
hot
vent's
spots.
pointing
in,
on
or the
you.
vent's pointing on you, you're
Right.
gonna be colder, I mean,
Right.
What were you gonna say, Lori?
I was going to ask about the fan. So would teachers be able to turn the fan on? So for example, generally, let's say we're testing, because,
Just white noise?
yes.
Yes.
Like, so
Not
you
moving
just turn the
air.
fan
We can
to
control,
circulate
we
air.
can
so
turn
it's not
any of that
circulating.
stuff on. There's all kinds of settings on it. And I'm getting the
Yeah.
base package here. We can put sensors on the incoming duct, the exiting duct, to monitor, you know, whether it's cooling and heating. I wasn't going for that right now, let's just try to get it installed. But there's all kinds of stuff that they can do to it.
And I asked Dave, before we started, so he said, he talked about those 17 units, if it was just the gym, the freezers and the refrigerators would be that 9,350. But if you do all of these, 166 of them, all at the same time, then you get some sort of a
Little break.
discounted
Yeah, because-
scenario.
This is actually a little bit higher than what the buy board price is, because this is not a discount price. I'm not getting the discount because we're not buying a volume of them, if that makes sense. So, I did reach out to several other companies, me and Nikki have talked to several of them. There was one company that we talked to that wanted to come in, look at our electric bill and all this other stuff, and try to save us some money, and we're in the contract, so we can't change any of that stuff. But they wanted to fund it up front, and then they wanted to recoup their money off the savings. And so, I didn't think that was a great idea. And then there was another company that came in, they were out of the Plano area, and their system was more expensive because they were gonna have to come in and install it. It was like $1,500 a unit, which is a lot more. So, our guys are, y'all know, my department is pretty handy, they can pretty much do whatever we need to, so when I had Nikki sitting down with me and we did the webinar with this guy, it's basically wiring up a thermostat. That's all we have to do, and they pretty much have already gonna set up the computer back end on it, and then we'll just go in there and make our adjustments on whatever we decide. And we may have to poll the teachers and say, hey, what's a comfortable temperature within reason that we could set these at? And we may just have to watch it for a month or two, and if it's out of control, we're gonna have to revert back to something else.
All right, let's dig through these. Do y'all want to, so here's your options. You can break them apart and vote on them individually as projects. You can vote on them all together, the 257,000 quoted, all items that are highlighted. How do you want to proceed?
Were you able to get a couple other, bids on the paving and the parking lot?
Not yet, I've only gotten the one. He's actually out of Highfield. He's the one that did the seal job for us. Y'all didn't approve it because it was a maintenance deal, but the high school parking lot that got turned black and then restriped, he did that one.
And you're satisfied with that?
Yes, I mean, he does a really good job. The hard part was getting him over here to look at it. That's why it happened this morning. I called him like 4 weeks ago, and I just got him this morning. He's doing a big job in Hamilton right now.
What's your timeline on making that happen if you were to do it? Does it have to be, start the second the class lets out for summer, or can it be done a little later?
It just kind of depends on his schedule
Are you
too.
seeking other quotes, in other words?
I can if I need to. They're gonna be higher. I can almost bet you they're gonna be a lot higher than that. Just because this guy's local and he's done a lot of stuff for schools around here. He's a good guy. Y'all just have to take a word for it. He's an old man.
And this is,
He loves to talk.
this is the alleyway, so the teachers park in the alleyway. So on the actual street, there's already
I wish I had drawn a
parking.
map
It
or
is the
something.
street.
It is the street,
It
okay.
is the
I just
street
got
edge.
distracted with
So
that.
And it's
the
just
old-
up on the street.
The old entrance, where we had the big awning over and all the kids were going in and out of there. There's a sidewalk that runs from the awning almost to the corner, not quite. That seems to be the worst area, but if we're gonna do it, we might as well do the whole thing. And then I told Lori, maybe next year we put in a budget to do her front drive and do the front part of her school, and then it would all be asphalt around there. But let's concentrate on the one that's the worst right now. The front of the school's not bad,
No,
but that
they
side
did a
part
really
is,
good job.
They
Pat.
really did.
the side part is really, really starting to age and wash out when we get.
That's where I broke my ankle.
And there's a speed bump, or something right there on the side of the road
Well,
by
they
the
had
fire
the
plug.
Carol Casey
Yeah.
Memorial Fund.
I couldn't get up.
Oh, yay.
It was.
That's where I dragged my license right out.
Ambulance coming to get me.
But I was just trying to find stuff that the district really needed. There's always painting and stuff like that that goes on. That's in our just normal general stuff. We're gonna try to concentrate a lot on air conditioners this summer, taking them apart, cleaning them on the inside, that kind of stuff. I bought a machine that will clean that stuff. We had a sneaky classroom at the middle school. I can't smell it, but other people have smelled it. Miss Edwards has smelled it, so we deep cleaned that air conditioning unit this morning to see if maybe the smell.
We feel like a student probably, just.
So maybe that's squirrels in that
I don't know, but we did buy a
Thank you.
machine called an ionizer out of our custodial supplies, and it will clean up to 16,000 square feet. We rented it here in the office, which can't be in the building when it's on, or inside that room, but it basically generates ozone, and it cleans the air and stuff in there. So we put that in there too, on top of that, cleaning the air conditioner, so we'll see tomorrow how.
We'll see, okay.
It's gonna smell lavendery right now.
It's gonna smell
because of
really
the
well.
cleaning.
I had to use it in my office.
It worked. We didn't even kill the fish, did we?
Okay, how do y'all wanna proceed? You wanna break them apart? You wanna vote on them in a group? You like some, not the others? What are you thinking?
Well, if we're not sure about the paving, we ought to break them apart.
Or could we vote on it and just with the intent to get 2 more quotes?
No.
Continue.
We can't.
Just
I mean, I can bring those back to you next month, I mean, it don't matter.
You could say not to exceed.
Yeah,
Or yeah,
not to
see,
exceed this, and then if I get 2 more quotes and they're higher, then we're gonna.
Be aware also that, sprinkler systems prices may be a little bit different, because these are
Just a
numbers,
skosh.
yeah,
maybe.
numbers from last year. so.
Well, they were it was last year, I keep thinking it's a school year. It was September, I think, when we were talking about it last year, but if we do that, that needs to kind of go in conjunction with the bathroom project too.
Mhm.
Because they're gonna be coming and going across there, so I'll need to get most of that stuff kinda tidied up before they do the sprinkler, because I gotta have time for the grass to recover too. That was another reason why we decided not to do it
Right.
in the fall, was because we didn't know if the grass would recover fast enough.
It would be nice not to have to drag those water hoses when.
Have y'all seen those hoses? I know we're tough guys, but they're that big and 300 foot long,
And they're heavy.
and they're,
And
when they're full of
And
water.
Lori has to move them.
I have to start, I have to start at the beginning where it's connected and hold it up and try to drain all the water out of it, and it still is hard to do.
It worked for what we were trying to do to start with, to establish all that, and I had in mind it all the way around that we would eventually do the sprinkler system over there. It would help, even pump run time, because right now, if it's not raining, which thank goodness it's been raining here lately, we have to go over there and turn it on as soon as school's out, move the teachers' cars and all that, so we don't blow well water all over them. And then somebody has to remember to come back up there and turn it off. I've forgotten a couple of times and flooded the playground. So we could water those in zones at
Yeah.
night, and it wouldn't really mess up anything.
The efficiencies of that and the thermostats, I mean, they're expensive up front, but in time, if they're managed correctly.
Well, the band practice field, it's getting so much action right now, to be able to water it at night would be awesome.
I offered if you would come and get all those stickers out of that backpack, then we wouldn't bother.
We sprayed it.
But he said there's no water back there, and I'd have to be dragging water hoses. Or pay a
It
water
would be a
bill.
city
It'd be
bill.
a city bill. I offered to
We
negotiate
we
that.
can't afford to water out of the city.
No,
But
it
he
won't
said
get a little
no,
expensive.
so we just bought down the stickers.
We did spray it last night.
Thank you.
Okay, so the elementary projects, if you couple those together, you have, the gym bathroom, you have the, paving, and then you also have the 30,000 for the sprinkler system, so that puts you at 110K for elementary projects, if you wanna break it out like that.
The middle school old gym sewer, y'all don't really have to approve that unless you just want to, because it's gonna have to be done. You can't use that later. So I kind of put it on there as a heads up, hey, this is what we're thinking, but to make that gym functional, we have to have that sewer line replaced.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's a major functioning item of the building.
Okay, so that's your primary, does anybody wanna make a motion on the middle school old gym sewer system?
I make a motion.
Okay, Rachel, let's make that motion, we're looking for a second.
I'll second.
Cecilia is our second, all those in favor? Okay, that's everyone.
Thank you all.
Okay, now do you want to do the 110K package for the elementary for restroom, sprinkler system, and, paving? With the caveat that the paving, potentially could have another quote or two capped around, I guess, 50?
I'll make the motion on the elementary improvements.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Okay, that's all. Now we are looking at, let's come back to the thermostat at the end. We're looking at a sprinkler system for the band practice and middle school field area for somewhere around $11,000.
I'll make a motion.
I got Cody and Rachel. All those in favor of that? Okay, that's all. Let's ignore the stadium scoreboard. I think that there's money in, the budget for that. You can do what you need
I
to
can
do
take
with
care
it.
of it.
Okay, the last thing left then is gonna be the HVAC, Wi-Fi thermostats.
I make a motion to do that.
Which one are you gonna do? Are you gonna do the 160, the full package?
Yeah.
Okay, so full package, Cecilia has made the motion, looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Cody is the second. All those in favor? That's everyone.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Okay, let's move to, personnel. We have 7.1 is the consideration and approval of professional contracts, and we have already taken care of, on 7.2, we've already taken care of Coach, Whitaker. The individuals left on here for approval are our Spanish teacher, Ms. Velasquez, as well as Monica Lingle as the AA for the co-op.
And all of the teachers.
Let's do this one
That
on
one
its own.
first,
If you
okay.
guys don't mind, those two individuals, looking for a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
I have a question. Tell me about the Spanish teacher.
I have not met her. She was interviewed Friday morning by Coach Miller.
You moving to coach?
Yeah, he's gonna do everything, yeah. Ms. Weingart and Ms. Campbell,
Yes.
and they loved her and are recommending.
She's a 16-year veteran. She's from Dublin. She immigrated to America as a freshman. Her parents brought her over, and she's loved by the Dublin principal and the assistant principal, and I checked references for her. Just absolutely loved her. That she actually did student teaching under the principal who got her there. She's wanting to come to DeLeon because they built a house over here, and she doesn't want to commute. And we pay better than Dublin. That's what she said. But when she was walking the hallway, our janitor, Juana, ran up and gave her a big old hug, knew her, and just couldn't stop talking great about it.
So we're very blessed.
She was a fabulous person.
I'll still make the motion.
So Kirby has. We're looking for a second.
I'll second.
Terrell is our second. All those in favor? Okay, now, that's all. Now for, the lists of teachers, I'm just gonna just quickly tell you all a couple of changes that have happened, which I think that Dr. Merle's actually already discussed some of this. We have an opening in special education because, Ms. Griffin has moved out of it into kindergarten, is that correct? Is that the way that works? Where did Ms. Griffin get moved from?
Ms. Griffin didn't move.
So she was always in kindergarten?
She's already pre-K.
Okay, so she was in pre-K and now she's in kindergarten because she's taken Baylor's place. Am I wrong in reading that?
Which one?
It's got Susan Graves for kindergarten.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, so she
Okay.
moved into Baylor's position.
Yes.
Okay, and so I think everyone else is the same for elementary, and that leaves the special education opening.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Then the changes for, junior high, it's gonna be a little bit different now. So we have, Ms. Stokes is gonna teach 6th and 7th science. And then, Ms. Wilson is gonna teach 6th and 8th social study. So that's a little bit of a change there. And then I think for high school, one of the things on your list, you've got noted here that there's one individual that has been removed from this list. And you've got the resignation letter that we'll acknowledge here in just a little while, and I think that's everything. I think everything was pretty similar to before. Does anybody have any questions on any of those? Any discussion that needs to happen? Okay, then I'm looking for a motion on all contracts presented by the principals as is.
I'll make a motion to accept the contracts as presented.
Okay, looking for a second.
Second.
Derek, all those in favor? And we have, 6-4, 1 abstaining, is he? Okay, and 7.3 is that, acknowledge resignations of Baylor Plotney, Jacob Marwitz, Jody Cohen, and Linda Harris. They each provided a nice letter, in the packet for you to read. We appreciate their service. I think that we have, quickly a call for closed session for personnel matters. If somebody will make that motion.
I make that motion.
Okay, so we will, 6:58. We will move into closed session for just a moment. And let's just see to make that, okay. I will get you to bring me an envelope. Oh, you already have it.
Stand up first.
Good dog.